Hey guys, how's it going? TasteFX here. Hope you're doing well. If you've been subscribed to the channel for a while, you may know that the most viewed video that I've ever uploaded is the Google Chrome vs Safari comparison, as it turns out many of you like to know about browsers. The final score between Chrome and Safari was, spoiler alert, 5-2 for Chrome, as back then Chrome had a better design, overall better customizability and extensions, better syncing between devices, and lots of extra features like 4K video playback on YouTube, as well as media controls. Well, you may know that a few days ago, after let's say some technical difficulties, Apple finally released macOS Big Sur to everybody, with some big features like a design overhaul that matches it more with iOS, support for the inbound Apple Silicon Macs that were released at the event earlier this week, some long needed updates to some stock apps like Messages, and of course, a new update to Safari. The main things that have changed with Safari and Big Sur are design, privacy, performance, and the addition of lots of long needed smaller features that make a big difference. So, let's kick it off with the design. As I said, macOS Big Sur makes the design of pretty much everything in the operating system more consistent with the rest of Apple's software. You've probably already seen the controversial iOS style icons, the rounded dock along the bottom, and the new more transparent menu bar that's along the top. The new Safari fits this theme very well, and is, dare I say, very similar to the iPad version, with glyphs that like borders until you hover over them with the cursor, and it has an overall more rounded and more friendly design. The main difference that you'll likely notice almost immediately though, is the new start page. Gone is the basic version from before, when you only had your bookmarks and a blurred version of your desktop. Now there's a detailed start page that not only shows you your bookmarks, but also frequently visited sites, a privacy report, which we'll get into more in just a bit, Siri suggestions, websites saved to your reading list, and what you have open in Safari on any of your other Apple devices. And of course, the background can now be set to any image that you like, adding an extra touch of customization, which just makes the experience a lot more aesthetically pleasing and makes it up to standards with other browsers like Chrome that offer the same thing. Personally, I really like this new Safari design a lot, as it remains familiar but also is refreshing after such a long time of looking at the same old boxy design. Okay, so the other big change in Safari with Big Sur is privacy. As you know, Apple is a very privacy-centered company, unlike many of the other ones that are in the tech industry, and this is evident in their approach with Safari. Like I mentioned just a minute ago, there's a new privacy report feature available right from the start page, and it's honestly an eye-opener in the sense that, really? That many websites try and track me? On the start page, it gives you an informative preview recapping that in the last 7 days Safari stopped X amount of trackers from profiling you, and since I use Safari quite a bit, my count is usually around 70 to 100 trackers, but it gets even more interesting when you click on the bar itself. Upon doing so, a window will pop out with a short introduction explaining what cross-site trackers are and how Safari intelligently prevents them from tracking you, and then below that is the shocker. There's a count of how many trackers have been stopped in the last 30 days, and then next to that is what percentage of trackers have tried to track you, which is usually about 70% of the websites that you visited. And then below that is a long list of names, sources, and websites that have tried to track you. And the top 5 most contacted trackers, believe it or not, are Google, 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 and then good old Facebook. Now I get that companies such as Google like their analytics data, and by using their search engine you basically sign up to wanting to be tracked. And I also get the websites want to show you ads so that they can profit off of you looking at their sites. But for real, ad tracking services are literally everywhere that you go, and I don't think that giving out private data is a worthy sacrifice that you should have to make every time you go on a website. Another privacy feature that was less heard about is that Safari also monitors for when your passwords are included in a security breach, and if they are, it will prompt you to try and change them so that it's more secure. And I think this is a really useful feature, as I, for one, would definitely not know if this happened to be, so it's nice that they're including this as part of Safari. I think that Apple's overall approach of being as transparent as they can be with who's tracking you is the best thing that Safari has going for it, as in today's world privacy is more of a commodity than ever. Moving on to the next category, which is performance, Safari is about as fast as it was before, but for some reason I think it feels slightly more smooth, likely due to the new animations in Big Sur. According to Apple, it's about 50% faster at loading websites than Chrome is, and is more power efficient than both Chrome and Firefox too. It also happens to beat all of the other browsers when seen from the tests on Apple's website, but I'm not entirely sure how true that is, as according to my testing with Activity Monitor, Safari uses a lot more RAM than it used to. I did the same tab test that I did on the Chrome Safari video, where I opened 10 typical tabs all at once, including a 4K YouTube video, the Apple website, a Verge article, a revision website, YouTube Studio, a Google Images search, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and a blank start page tab. And in Activity Monitor, all of this adds up to about 4.2 GB of RAM, compared to the 2 GB of RAM that I found in my previous video when on macOS Catalina. I don't know if this increase in RAM usage is perhaps because Safari has to constantly try and prevent trackers on almost every website, but both Safari and macOS itself weren't buggy whatsoever during this testing, and I think that Apple's tight optimizations between hardware and software are really showing here. Realistically though, as long as you can have multiple tabs open and have other apps open alongside Safari, I don't think it matters that much, and the experience is, like I said, very smooth. If you were listening to that list of tabs that I had opened, you may have noticed that I said a 4K video on YouTube. Yes, 4K video, YouTube, Safari. macOS Big Sur has given Safari a plethora of new small features that make such a big difference in day-to-day usage, and one of them that I and probably many other people are also very pleased about is that you can finally watch YouTube videos and Netflix in 4K instead of just a capped 1080p resolution from before. Another useful but small feature is that you can now also have tab previews when hovering over a tab, like in Microsoft Edge, and I find it really handy if I want to quickly look at where a tab is without actually opening it, or just have a satisfying drag across the top of my screen when I'm really bored. The new translation feature from iOS also makes its way into Safari as well, allowing you to translate pages to and from 7 common languages, including Spanish, French, Russian, and Chinese. When media is being played, there are now new controls available in the menu bar, and extensions can now also use the new Web Extensions API and migration tools to be imported from other browsers, which is definitely a step forward from the limitations that there were before. So all in all, Safari doesn't seem as bad of an option as it did previously. Sure, it still doesn't have the same level of support for other devices as other browsers do, and it isn't perfect in the sense that developers don't invest as much time making different extensions and stuff like that, but with these new improvements in Big Sur, I think that I can honestly say that Safari is the best browser to use if you have Apple devices. It works well, is smooth, it has lots of different features now, and doesn't sacrifice on user privacy. What more could you want? But let me know, what do you think of these new improvements that have come in macOS Big Sur? Do you think that they make Safari worth using, or is it still better to use Chrome or any other browser? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe as we're nearly at 300 and I would appreciate it a lot. This is TechSpecs here, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.